Good afternoon, everyone. A very warm welcome to you on Parentune Live. Hope you're all doing well. My name is Jharna Kukreja, and I'm your host for today. COVID-19 is still a constant threat. Pollution and pollen content are at their peak. And to top it all off, winter has set in most parts of the country. With dipping temperatures, the odds of our children falling sick become much more likely. As a mother myself, I know that even a regular cold or fever can cause panic during this pandemic. In such circumstances, I'm constantly on the lookout for ways to improve my children's immunity. Joining us today to discuss how to improve your child's immunity with winter foods is nutritionist Huda Shaikh. Huda is the founder and director of NutriBond. She plays many roles as a clinical dietitian, a health blogger, a motivational speaker, a healthy recipe designer, and a diabetes educator. A very warm welcome to you, Huda. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we're delighted to have you on Parentune.
Thank you so much, Jharna, for the lovely introduction.
Huda, why don't you start off by telling us today, does your child's diet have a direct impact on their immunity?
Absolutely, Jharna, because the first and the foremost thing is your child's diet starts right from the time your child is, say, uh, only a day old. Because your child is going to consume breast milk, and breast milk is the only form of nutrition your child is going to get for the next 6 months. So that is your child's food typically. But the proper food that your child starts eating or weaning starts from 6 months onwards. So in this process you are actually building your child's immunity. The food that you're giving your child and the foods that you are including in your child's diet are going to play an important role. So number one, when you're breastfeeding your child, and the more you breastfeed your child, say for 6 months, right from 6 months till a year or 2 years, it is actually going to help in boosting your child's immunity. Number two is the kind of foods you give your child. So when you start weaning, you should understand that you should start with foods that don't have any salt, sugar, or oil in them, and don't necessarily have non-vegetarian foods and dairy products in them. So you need to start with basic foods that you can give your child, or your child can digest easily. Number three is that once your child is a year old, you should make sure that you're giving everything that you particularly eat at home to your child. It could be the normal roti, rice, dal khichdi, or khichdis that we eat, the soups that we have, the different fruits that we have. So all of these can be given to your child as and when your child is growing. At the same time, it is very important that you select the right foods, because your child's immunity is developing until the age of 2 years. So your child's immunity has not developed until then, because your child is somehow dependent on breast milk for it. So your child's immunity develops until 2 years of age, and as and when your child progresses, as and when your child is aging, your child's immunity is going to develop. So a proper nutritious diet, so say a diet that has all the food groups, has is loaded with proteins, it has enough carbohydrates in the form of complex carbohydrates, fiber, has healthy fats in it, and at the same time has everything, say whether it's nuts, whether it's chicken, whether it's eggs, whether it's dal. So protein is very important typically in boosting your child's immunity. So all these food groups, they are actually going to help in boosting your child's immunity. So yes, your child's diet plays an important role, very a major role in building your child's immunity. Because if you give the wrong foods to your child while your child's immunity is building, your child's immunity will get affected. And also, in building immunity takes time, it doesn't happen overnight. So only one single food will not help in boosting your child's immunity. It has to be your child's the entire diet has to be good in order to boost your child's immunity.
Right.
Yes, Sharna.
Right, Huda, you mentioned you went over the aspect of how immunity is develops till the age of 2 years. So, um, can you elaborate a little bit more about developing immunity? Does it, stop developing at the age of 2 years, or is it a constant process?
Hmm.
Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So, Jharna, the immunity continues to build as and when your child is aging. So, when in the process of aging, your child's immunity is only going to increase. Uh, till 2 years, the child has his or her own immunity. Why? What do I mean by own immunity? Because, as I said, from 0 years until 6 months or a year or two, the child is dependent on the breast milk he or she is getting. So the breast milk is the best form of nutrition. At the same time, it is also going to provide the child with immunity, but this is the immunity that the child is going to get from his mother. He has particularly not developed and his immunity until the age of 2 years. So by the age of 2 years, your child is going to build his or her own immunity, and then the immunity is only going to increase with age. And as we have been discussing, the diet plays an important role. Immunity is not going to happen, it's not going to develop overnight, it's not going to develop with just one food. It is going to, it's an ongoing process, and immunity starts declining after a certain age. As we start aging, post the age of 40, post the age of 50, then there's a decline in the immunity. So until a certain age, your child's immunity is only developing. Yes, Jharna.
Thank you, Huda, for that. Huda, we'll start off with some of the questions that are coming in from parents. Our first question comes from Srinagar, from Wahida. And she says, "Hello, ma'am. My daughter is 6.5 years old. She's a fussy eater. She eats nothing on her own free will, and I have to force feed her. My
Okay.
concern is that we don't get too many fresh fruits and vegetables where they are located in Srinagar. And she's not eating any fruits aside from banana, and vegetables, that too only if she mashes it along with rice.
Mm-hmm.
She says, please tell me, ma'am, what's the replacement for vegetables and fruits? And I'm really worried. Is dry fruit a good option?"
So, hi Vahida, good to hear from you. The first and the foremost thing is there is no replacement for fruits and vegetables, because the kind of nutrition you get from fruits and vegetables, you will not find it in any other thing. So, fruits and vegetables are extremely important because they provide with fiber and they provide with many other nutrients that your child needs for growth. Now, as you've mentioned that you don't get fresh fruits and vegetables where you're living, so whatever fresh fruits and vegetables are available, you can add those to your child's diet. The next thing is, as you mentioned, that your child eats vegetables only if you mash it with rice. There are many other options. You can make a soup out of it. You can even add it to chillas, pancakes. You can make a roti roll. You can make a sandwich. You can make a pizza. Maybe a roti pizza, or it could be a khakra pizza, or whatever. Something that can be made as a base. You can also make, like, those small bread pizzas, or those cup pizzas with vegetables, and some paneer, some cheese, if that is available in your area. You can make that. If you get basic vegetables also, like tomatoes, capsicum, just add them to your child's diet in the forms that I've told you. Also, at the same time, dry fruits can be given. Definitely, you can start your child's morning with, say, two dates, and in between, anywhere, maybe you can add what do you say, almonds and walnuts and raisins to your child's milkshake or smoothies. Or maybe, if you're giving, like, if you get fresh fruits and vegetables, if you get fruits available in your area, any fruit it is, you can maybe, just powder it and sprinkle it on the fruit that you're giving your child. Or maybe if you get two three different fruits, you can make like an assorted fruit bowl, and you can add some nuts to it, and raisins to it, or you can even squeeze some lime onto it. So just try and make sure that whatever you're getting in your area, whatever is available, try and utilize it to the maximum. So even if you're getting bananas in your area, if that is easily available, try different things out of bananas. You can make pancakes, you can make smoothies, you can make milkshakes, you can make something like, you can add it to your child's muesli bowl, or maybe cornflakes and all these things. It can be added to a lot more things. So just try and utilize whatever you are getting in your area. Even if you are not getting too many things, just try and utilize whatever you have, and don't be worried. as I've been saying, just try whatever you get. Dry fruits can definitely be given, but I will again repeat, there is no replacement for fruits and vegetables, because and especially seasonal fruits and vegetables, because they are, they give you that nutrition that you require. And so that's why whatever you get, just utilize it and don't worry about the rest. Yes, Sharna.
Right, Huda. You just mentioned seasonal fruits and vegetables. So, what role does having seasonal fruits and vegetables in particular play?
Right. So there are certain, like, in the winter season, you'll find fruits like, custard apple, you'll find oranges, you'll find different varieties of grapefruits, and you get all these, you'll get figs, fresh figs. So all these fruits are typically going to give you those nutrients that you require during this season, because they have those nutrients are required by the person during that particular season. So say oranges. Why oranges? Because oranges have vitamin C in them, and if you see during the winter season, a lot of people tend to go down with cold and cough, flu, all these things. So seasonal allergies are very common during the winter season. So that's why vitamin C plays an important role. And a lot of other fruits that you get, they will give you fiber. A lot of people are known to suffer from constipation during the winter season. So that is how it is going to help. So all these fruits, they are there in this season for a reason. So you are going to get all the nutrition that you require during the season with the fruits that you are consuming. And also their nutrients are at its peak. So once the season is gone, you will see that oranges don't taste very good like they were tasting during the winter season, or the custard apple is not as good as it was, because then, the quality also starts degrading, and as and when the season goes, the fruit starts losing its nutrients. So that's why, it's best to have that particular fruit during the season. Just like all of us enjoy the mangoes during the mango season, during the summer season, because the nutrients are at its peak and the quality is the best during that season. Yes, Jharna.
Right, Huda. You spoke about how oranges are in season during the winter months, and they do provide vitamin C. So there is a belief among some sections that oranges contribute to cold and cough. And
Right.
that brings us to our next question from Kranti S in Mumbai. She says, "Hi, can I give oranges and guava to my child during winter as he likes it the most? But I'm worried about cold and cough."
Right. So there's nothing to worry about. Fruits that are rich in vitamin C, especially oranges and guavas. Even though they have, if you go according to Ayurveda, they do have these, nutrients, or they do have these qualities which can actually lead to cold and cough. But as per science, there is nothing as such. If you Even if your child has minute cold and cough, or is suffering from like a slight fever, still oranges and guavas can be given. So vitamin C is important for boosting your child's immunity, and vitamin C is also very important to keep your child at bay from seasonal allergies or cold and cough. At the same time, I would also like to say one thing. There are certain people who may be allergic to these fruits during the winter season. They do start feeling that, they are feeling cold, or these fruits are contributing to cold. So what I would suggest is, give these fruits only in the afternoon or in the morning. If you feel, or if you fear that your child may go down with a cold, don't give it to your child in the night, or say, post dinner. Try and keep it limited to an afternoon or an evening snack at the most. And try, and even if you want to give a juice, an orange juice or a guava juice, try and give it in the morning or in the afternoon or for mid morning, and at the max for evening. So these are few precautions that you can follow, but per se, vitamin C does not contribute to, or oranges and guava don't contribute to cold and cough, until and unless you have the tendency to catch a cold and cough. And or if your child has a sinus issue or has an allergy problem, then there could be issues. But otherwise, there are no harms in taking oranges or guavas during the winter season. Yes, Sharna.
Right, Huda. Huda, we often hear of concoctions that are used as immunity boosters. They could be karas or kashayams. So should
Hmm.
these concoctions be offered to children as well? Are they
Mm-hmm.
helpful for children as well?
Right. So, if the child is, older than 2 years old, then definitely some of the concoctions can be given to your child. But see, since it's we live in an Indian household, so usually we use a lot of garam masala. We use a lot of spices to prepare these concoctions or these karas. So as I also mentioned in the last session that I did, that it's very important that you don't load your karas with a lot of garam masala or spices, especially if you are making it for your child. Make sure that if you're making it for your child who's less than 3 years old, especially I would say if you want to start giving a kara, start giving it only after 2 years. And if your child is less than 3 years old, I would suggest that a simple ginger, basil, and maybe like a small piece of cinnamon. If you can make a kara out of this is more than enough for your child. But as I've already mentioned, a particular food or a particular kara or concoction will not just boost your child's immunity. Your child's diet has to be at its best, and your child's diet has to be balanced. Needs to give your child all the nutrients. So yes, a particular concoction can be given. If you have a child who's more than 5 years old, you can definitely, the kara that you're making for yourself, you can give a little bit of that to your child. But make sure, again, I'm repeating this continuously, that make sure that it's not loaded with garam masalas. You're not adding too much of ginger to it, not too many ingredients. Don't just complicate that kara. Just a simple ginger, basil, and cinnamon kara should be more than enough. Yes, Jarna.
Uh, Thanks for that, Huda. Huda, our next question comes from Konfi Udegu. He says that anytime my daughter goes to school, she comes back with either an infection or a runny nose or cough. How do I
Mm-hmm.
prevent that? So, is there something he could add to his daughter's diet to help him prevent cold or cough and
Okay.
infections?
Okay. How old is the child, Jarna?
They have not mentioned how old the child is.
Okay. So, the first and the foremost thing, what I see here, hygiene could be an issue. What I can make out from the question is, or either, your child is easily contracting it from any other child in school, because usually cold and cough happens to be contagious. So, your child is, maybe attracting this or contracting this from another child. It could also be that in school there's not, many hygiene norms are not taken into consideration. Maybe, there's, if somebody sneezes, your child ends up catching a cold. So what I would suggest is, try and keep, as I've been saying, try and add more protein to your child's diet. Try and add foods that are rich in vitamin C to your child's diet. Protein is very, very important when it comes to boosting immunity. It is not only required for the wear and tear of your muscles, but it is also required for building your child's immunity. So it's a building block for so many things in the body. So the first and the foremost thing you need to do is add enough protein to your child's diet. Make sure that your child is, you try and take all the hygiene precautions. Try and do everything that you can. Maybe ask your, if your child is older than 5 years old, to ask your child to carry a hand sanitizer, maybe, so that your child does not touch any of the surfaces, and doesn't end up touching his nose or mouth with the same hand that he's touched the surfaces. So try and add more protein in the diet. It could be via eggs, chicken, or dairy and dairy products. It could be pulses, it could be sprouts, it could be nuts. So add all these to your child's diet. At the same time, healthy fats are very, very important, because these are also necessary in boosting your child's immunity. So maybe in the morning before your child leaves for school, you can give your child maybe three soaked almonds, or maybe it could be walnuts. You don't have to soak the walnuts. So you can start your child's morning with this, and then maybe a glass of milk can be given. So, and also, since there are, vitamin C, it's abundant in so many fruits and vegetables. Go ahead and add these to your child's diet. So these should also have an impact. But if your child is contracting cold and cough pretty easily, and you see that it is getting, very common, like every month or every 2 months, I would suggest that you see a doctor, because maybe your child's immunity is slightly lower, and there could be varied other reasons why your child's immunity is on the lower side. So try and see a doctor once and try and figure out what could be the issues. But in the diet, you can do all these things. Yes, Jana.
Right, Huda, you addressed the aspect of healthy fats. So,
Yeah.
in addition to the nuts you've mentioned, are there other healthy fats that could be included in your child's diet to boost their
Right.
immunity?
Right. So, apart from nuts, we also have a lot of seeds. So we have flax seeds, chia seeds, and there are so many seeds in the market: sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, that have good fats. Avocados is a very good thing, and then again you have fishes, and even chicken and eggs also have some of it, but it's not like really abundant. So you can go ahead and add these to your child's diet. In fact, you can add it to your own diet also, because healthy fats are very, very important. We always look at fats as villains. We feel that fat should not be consumed because it is going to make you fat. But I feel that it's very, very important to add these healthy fats to your child's diet, because it's going to boost your child's immunity. At the same time, a lot of functions in the body are dependent on fats. So we need enough fats in our body for these functions to be carried out smoothly. At the same time, during the winter season, you would see that the skin dries. So if you are adding enough of omega 3, omega 6 fatty acids, healthy fats in the diet, you will not see that drying part can also be taken care of. So healthy fats come very handy, also, especially during the winter season. Yes, Sharna.
Right, Huda. Huda, we've addressed the aspect of what all to include in your child's diet to boost their
Right.
immunity. Let's move on now to what things to avoid, or
Hmm.
things that could perhaps lower your child's immunity, and things that you should
Right.
restrict or avoid.
Right.
So related to that, our next question comes in from Chennai, from Gigi Naresh. Gigi says, "Hello, ma'am. My son is 3 years old. Please suggest which food should be avoided during winters, which cause cold or contribute to a cold."
So, Gigi, good to hear from you. The first and the foremost thing is, no food can literally cause cold until and unless the timing that that food is given, has an effect. So, what I'm trying to say here is that at times maybe a yogurt in the night, or a banana in the night, or consuming rice in the night can give you cold, but it's not necessary that it will give you a cold. Also, oranges or guavas, if given in the night, may cause cold. But there's not enough research to back it up that okay, necessarily these foods are going to lead to cold. So what I would suggest is all the foods can be given to your child. The only things that you need to keep away from your child, these foods are not even healthy. So whether it's aerated drinks, whether it's ice creams, anything cold, I mean, anything that is got out of the refrigerator should be avoided for your child. You should try and make sure that if you want to give yogurt to your child, keep it outside, maybe keep it outside for say 10-15 minutes, and then give it to your child. If you are planning to give maybe an orange and it's kept in the fridge, remove it before your child wants to eat it, or before you intend to give it to your child. So take these few precautions, and your child should not suffer from cold and cough. And seasonal allergies are very normal, because what usually happens is when the season changes, the bacteria or the viruses that are responsible for causing a common cold or seasonal allergies become more resistant, and our immunity tends to go for a toss, because the climate is changing and our immunity is trying to become accustomed to that change in the climate. So that's why little hiccups within terms of a seasonal allergy is normal. But at the same time, if your child gets it on and off, then it is a cause of concern. So I don't think there is anything that needs to be removed from your child's diet typically. Just few things that you shouldn't be giving in the night, and at the same time, if there's anything that's got out of the refrigerator, please make sure that you keep it out for some time, and only then give it to your child. Yes, Sharna.
Right, Huda. Huda, our next question comes from Meeti Joshi, who has a 7-year-old child. Meeti asks, "What food should I give to my child to improve his appetite? My 7 year
Okay.
old is very lean, though he is energetic."
Okay. Okay. So the first and the foremost thing here is, what is your child's weight? Has she mentioned the child's weight?
No, the weight is not
Okay.
mentioned.
Okay. So I would request all the parents to mention their child's weight and height, because that makes it easier for me to answer the questions. What I would suggest is, if your child is lean and if your child is active, there's absolutely nothing to worry. If your child is eating, say, maybe 3 4 meals in a day, or at the max, if even if you're breaking it down, and if your child is eating even 5 meals in a day, with 3 major meals and 2 snacks, I think that should be more than enough. So what I would suggest is, give at least 5 meals to your child in a day. There could be 3 main meals, that is a breakfast, a lunch, and a dinner. And along with that, just give out some spaced snacks to your child, whether it could be in the evening or in the evening or late evening, and one for mid morning. So if you're giving two, if you're parting everything, if you're giving your child food in intervals, it is actually going to help in boosting your child's metabolism, and at the same time your child will feel hungry if you are giving your child food in this manner. And at the same time, I would suggest that don't try to force feed your child, don't try to give too much to your child just because you feel that it's required for his or her age. Usually children know how much they want to eat, and they understand what they like and what they don't like. By the age of 7, obviously your child is grown. So give your child as much as he is happy eating. If he's happy eating, say, a small bowl or maybe a plate of rice, or a bowl of soup at a given time, that's absolutely okay. Just make sure that your child is getting enough food in intervals, and just make sure that he is getting healthy snacks along with these major meals, because snacks also play a very important role, because that is where a lot of kids go wrong, or that is where a lot of parents tend to go wrong. So make sure that you are giving these things to your child, you're spacing out his meals. That is actually going to help in boosting your child's appetite. And even if your child is, say, eating little portions, there's nothing to worry. Just make sure that it's not too less and not too much. That's the only thing you need to take care of. And give enough fruits and vegetables in between wherever possible, and try and include enough protein in your child's diet. Protein is also very good. It's going to keep your child full for a longer duration. At the same time, it's also going to boost your child's appetite. So if you do all these things, it's actually going to help you. Yes, Janna.
Right, Huda. Huda, you spoke about allergies, about seasonal allergies. So, does the diet also contribute to managing seasonal allergies?
Yeah, so what I would say here is that, as I mentioned before, that our bodies tend to our immunity goes down with the climate. The way, if there's a changing climate, the immunity can actually go for a toss. So what you need to take care of is that your diet is in place. Even if the climate is changing, you need to make sure that you're adding enough protein to your diet, you're adding enough of vitamin C to the diet, you're adding enough of healthy fats to the diet. So if you are taking these, if your diet is full in all of these, if your diet is, you're taking in enough fruits and vegetables, yogurt is in fact very good in boosting your child's immunity, in fact your own immunity. So if you are taking whole grains in your diet, if you're adding millets to your diet, if you're doing all these things, in fact, even if you see in older India or our ancestors, they ate a lot of millets during the winter season. So I mean, that also contributes a lot to your immunity. Just make sure that along with your diet, you're also taking enough rest, you're exercising, you're doing some kind of a physical activity. It's for kids as well. Keep your kids active, and give enough water to your child, even whether it's the winter season, because that is actually going to help in removing all the toxins out of the body.
Thanks for that, Huda. So, on the same lines, let's also see what our Parentune expert, Dr. Mrinal Jamdar, has to say about improving immunity through Ayurvedic tips, especially in these Corona times.
ये कोरोना का प्रभाव बहुत ज्यादा चल रहा है, उसका डर बहुत ज्यादा हमारे दिमाग में, मन में, शरीर में बैठा हुआ है। लेकिन बच्चों के लिए जैसे हम लोग सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग, मास्क पहनना, ये सारी चीजें, हाथ रेगुलरली धोना, ये तो हम सभी लोग कर रहे हैं। लेकिन कुछ घरेलू नुस्खे हैं जिसकी वजह से, जिसके चलते हम अपनी इम्यूनिटी बहुत अच्छी तरह से बढ़ा सकते हैं। पहला तो आपने ही बता दिया प्रसून जी, आप हल्दी का पानी लेके बैठे हैं। हल्दी और पानी, हल्दी इम्यूनिटी बढ़ाती है, एंटी एलर्जिक है, और उसमें काफी सारे ऐसे गुण हैं जिससे आपकी इम्यूनिटी बढ़ती है। तो ये जो हल्दी का दूध है, जिसे हम लोग जनरली कहते हैं गोल्डन मिल्क, आयुष मंत्रालय ने इसके बारे में बहुत अच्छी जानकारी दी है। ये प्रतिदिन बच्चों को हमने देना चाहिए। ये बहुत टेस्टी तरीके से बनाया जाता है। आप उसमें जैसे, कई बच्चों को दूध इतना अच्छा नहीं लगता, तो आप आधा ग्लास पानी, आधा ग्लास दूध मिक्स करके उसमें 1 चम्मच हल्दी डाल दीजिएगा। उसे अच्छी तरह से उबालिए, छान लीजिए, और उसमें गुड़ डाल सकते हैं तो बहुत अच्छा है। अगर नहीं बच्चों को पसंद आ रहा तो हल्दी डाल दीजिए। और 1 छोटा चम्मच अगर गोघृत डालते हैं, गाय का घी डालते हैं, तो ये इम्यूनिटी बढ़ाने में हेल्प करता है। ये एंटी एलर्जिक भी काम करता है। अब जैसे इसी दौरान अगर कोई एलर्जी की वजह से भी छींक आती है, तो पेरेंट्स को बहुत टेंशन आ जाता है कि बच्चों को क्या हुआ एग्जैक्टली, कोरोना तो नहीं हो गया। तो ये सारी एलर्जी भी दूर करने का काम हल्दी के दूध से होता है। तो हल्दी का दूध, इसलिए हम उसे गोल्डन मिल्क कहते हैं। आजकल विदेशों में तो हल्दी के शॉट्स मिलने लगे हैं, आप छोटा छोटा लीजिए और पीजिए, आपकी इम्यूनिटी बढ़ा। तो ये एक बहुत अच्छा तरीका है।
Right. So we all want our children to always remain healthy. But while we cannot control external factors such as the change in the air quality, we can help them build their immunity to such a level that common viruses and infections don't bother them. Winter has almost started in every state in our country, and this time of the year is very hard on our children's bodies. The question on everyone's mind is how to protect our child and boost their immunity during winter. So let's first understand what immunity actually means. Basically, immunity is a state of protection of the human body, a state of protecting our human body from various infectious diseases or building the body's defense against these diseases. There are some immunity boosting superfoods available for children. Things like nuts and cashews. You could offer your child 2 to 3 almonds or cashew nuts or other dry fruits every day. Dry fruits are a powerhouse of essential fatty acids that boost immunity. Omega-3 fatty acids also help in brain development. Then we can come to household herbs. Our household, our kitchens are full of many things that can be added to our children's diet to boost their immunity, whether it's herbs like tulsi and ginger or um, other herbs that are available in our kitchens. These herbs are loaded with antioxidants. They prepare the body to fight against viral infections and also work as medicine in themselves. You could boil some of these herbs like tulsi in water and strain it and offer your child a few sips during the day to help them deal with symptoms of a cold. Always check whether your child has an allergy to these before offering your child, of course. Then we come to fruits and vegetables. Now, seasonal fruits and vegetables, nothing can beat them in helping boost your child's immunity. So don't be afraid of offering your children fruits and vegetables regularly. Even if they're citrus fruits like oranges, these can all be offered during the winter. Huda, if you could tell us when it comes to seasonal allergies, what are the various ways that our diet can contribute to decreasing allergies symptoms in children?
Right. So, as I mentioned before, Jharna, it is very, very important that as the season is changing, you make certain dietary changes in the diet. You make certain dietary changes. The first and the foremost thing is your protein intake needs to increase for your child. So, what you can do is you can start adding maybe boiled eggs. You can add like a chicken soup or maybe an egg soup. or if you don't eat chicken, it could be a vegetable soup, or it could be a moong soup, or it could be a dal soup, dal and carrot soup. Carrots are also in the season. So it could be, you could start making these changes to the diet, and you can start adding these foods to the diet, as in when you feel that there's a seasonal change and your child may contract, maybe, a cold and cough. So it's very important that you make certain changes in the diet at the same time, as I've been saying right from the beginning. During the season, the seasonal fruits and vegetables are very, very important. So if you feel that your child may again have, certain issues, first thing first, just start adding vegetables, seasonal vegetables and fruits to your child's diet. So proteins, fresh fruits and vegetables. At the same time, millets, as I was talking about millets are very, very important. Ragi, jowar, bajra, all these, if somebody is living in India, it's very easy to procure all these things. So these also come very handy because they are loaded with nutrients. They have iron, they have magnesium, they have so many things in them. They have fiber, they have protein also. So start adding all these to your child's diet, as in when you feel that there's a seasonal change and your child may contract a cold and cough. But as I've been saying before also, even if there is, an incident where your child has cold and cough, it is absolutely okay, because it's the it's the season. So there may be chances that you may, or your child may go down with a cold and cough, and that's absolutely okay. Once you have gone down with cold and cough, and you know that, okay, there's already one incident that has happened, try and add whatever I've asked you to the diet. And also, lemon can also be added to the diet, even if it is the winter season. So as we've been talking about a lot of citrus fruits, even lemon can be added. So lemon water can be taken twice a day. It can even be given to your child. So the more healthy you eat, the more balanced your diet is, and the more you are taking, of fiber and protein and healthy fats, the more it is going to benefit you, and the more it is going to benefit your child's health. So yes, during a seasonal change, you need to take certain precautions, and you need to start adding certain foods to the diet, as in when you feel that the winter season is approaching. Yes, Jana.
Right. If you've just joined this Parentune Live, I'm with Huda Sheikh, and she's answering your questions on immunity and nutrition. You can ask your questions in the comments section and stay on this live, and we'll have them answered for you in a short while. Huda, our next question comes from Anindita Bhaumik. She has a 5-year-old child, and her 5-year-old is lactose intolerant. So her question is, what kind of food can I give my child so that she can meet her vitamin D and calcium requirements?
Okay. So, the first and the foremost thing here is that there is no other great source of vitamin D than the sunlight. So now that everything is getting back onto normal, you can maybe take your child, anywhere between 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. is the time when you need to take your child out, and you need to, maybe you need to walk along with your child, or maybe you can just send your child down for a walk, say for 10-15 minutes. And then what you can do is, there are certain foods like that are fortified with vitamin D. There are certain foods like eggs, chicken, nuts, seeds that have some amounts of vitamin D in it, though they are not very abundant in vitamin D, but still it can give some amount of vitamin D to your child. At the same time, if there is a deficiency of vitamin D, you can ask your child's doctor to prescribe some kind of supplement, and that can be taken by your child. But by far, for vitamin D, sunlight is the best source. So I would suggest that take your child out in the sunlight anywhere between 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. And the next thing that you can do is for calcium. So you need a lot of vitamin D in the diet for the calcium to get absorbed. So what you can do is, a lot of foods are fortified with calcium. At the same time, your nuts and seeds also have some amounts of calcium. Your green leafy vegetables have calcium. Sesame seeds are a very good source of calcium. And if your child is not able to take the normal, curd or milk, so you have options like soy milk, you have options like almond milk, even you also get coconut curd or yogurt these days, that can also be given to your child if you are worried about calcium. and all these things, if taken in the diet and everything combined, will not pose any problem. You can easily meet your child's calcium requirements. But in that case, as I'm saying, if there is a deficiency of vitamin D or calcium, you can ask the doctor for certain supplements, and those supplements can be taken by your child. But we have a lot of options for calcium and vitamin D. Yes, Sharna.
Right. Thanks for that, Huda. Huda, our next question comes in from Rajpreet Kaur Sandhu, who has an 11-month-year-old baby. And Rajpreet asks, can I give soaked almonds to my 11-month-old baby? So can nuts be offered to such a young child?
So nuts should be given only after a year. So I would suggest that you wait for another month, and then even if you want to give nuts to your child, make sure that you roast it. It can be roasted in ghee, or it can be roasted in dry roasted, and then you can powder it and you can add it to your child's milk, or you can add it to your child's yogurt. But once your child has turned a year old, also if you want to give it, make sure that not more than 1/4 teaspoon. And if at all your child likes it and likes the taste, you can go up to half a teaspoon, and then gradually increase it to 1 teaspoon. So make sure that if your child is less than 2 years old, does not have enough teeth, it's not recommended to give these nuts, and because they are very small, they can actually choke your child. So that's why it's very important that you roast it first, whether in ghee or dry roast, and powder it and then give it to your child.
Right.
Yes,
Thanks,
sir.
Huda. So you heard there how nuts can be a choking hazard for very young children. So you have to give it in the correct form. Huda, we have a couple of questions coming in from parents who are worried about cold and cough, and they want to know how to prevent it. We have a question from Pavi, who has a 4-month-old baby, and we have a question from Sanya, who has a 5-month-old baby. And they both want to know how to cure their child's cold and cough. So, since the babies are so young, I'm assuming that the diet would mainly be either mother's milk or formula milk. But do you have any advice for them? Huda, can you hear me? Right. I think we've just lost Huda, and she'll be joining us back in a minute. Today, we are talking about immunity, and specifically what kind of winter foods to include in our child's diet to boost their immunity. So, as we've addressed with our expert nutritionist Huda Shaikh, there are various winter foods, seasonal fruits and vegetables, citrus fruits that can be included in your child's diet to boost their immunity, healthy fats, nuts and seeds, and immunity boosters, but without too many heavy spices. All these can be included to boost your child's immunity. We can also look at vegetables that are in season during the winter. These could be root vegetables, greens like mustards, spinach, mint, dill. These are all winter uh, specialty vegetables that are harvested during the winter, and these can be offered to your child in various forms. Um, Citrus fruits can be included in their diet, and you don't have to worry about them contributing to a cold and cough, provided you offer them to your child at the correct time of the day and when they're at room temperature. You can also offer spices like black pepper, which have antiseptic and antioxidant properties, and elaichi, which helps our respiratory passage, cinnamon, which is also acts as an antiseptic and provides relief from a cough and cold. Um, Honey can be offered to your child, but only above the age of 1. Do not offer uh, infants below the age of 1 honey to help them deal with their cold and cough. Um, Today, we are speaking about immunity in your children and how to boost immunity with winter foods. We are just being joined by our expert, Huda Shaikh. Uh, Thank you for joining us today. For those of you who have joined us in between, I encourage you to watch the entire video on Parentune to understand your child's immunity and how it can be boosted through winter foods. Um, I would like to remind you that you can ask your queries to Parentune doctors and experts 24/7 on the Parentune app. And do remember to subscribe to our social handles for reminders on our live discussions and workshops. Take care. And we, right, Huda's with us again. Huda, thank you for joining us. Huda, we often hear about health drinks that are available in the market and that are often promoted by commercial brands as health drinks that should be offered to our children. Do these
Right.
health drinks actually boost immunity?
Okay. This is a very, very important question. Thank you for addressing this, Jharna. Because, we talk about boosting our child's immunity, but do we understand that a lot of these health drinks that we have in the market, they are actually loaded with sugar, they are actually loaded with preservatives. And these health drinks, in fact, do no good to your child's immunity and do no good to your child's health. They're only going to affect your child in the in an adverse way. So it's always better, as I've always been saying, better than giving any other protein powder or any other health drink that is available in the market. You can make a healthy health drink at home. You can maybe make the powders that you get, you can replace it with nuts powder. That is the best protein source that you can give your child, apart from eggs, chicken and dal that you've been giving. So what you can do is, as I have been saying, first thing, take, like, you can take a bowl of or a small katori of almonds, a small katori of pistachios, and 1/4 cup of cashews, and maybe 1/4 cup or to half a cup of walnuts. Along with that, you can just roast this, either dry roast it. If you want the powder to last, you can dry roast it, and then you can even add seeds like sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, flax seeds. These can also be added. So just slightly roast everything, powder it in your blender, or whatever you have, and then you can give this to your child whenever you want to give, like, a drink, or you want to make like a health drink. Now this does not only taste good, but at the same time is very good for your child's health, and is going to give your child a lot of nutrition. So what you can do is, whenever you're making this, just like we make badam milk, so a lot of us, I'm sure, are very fond of badam milk. So this is something, this is on those lines. And at the same time, when you're making this, you can either use honey to sweeten it, or you can use dates syrup that is made at home, or dates puree that is made at home, to sweeten it or give it a different taste. You can also use saffron. Few strands of saffron can also be added, because saffron is also excellent when it comes to boosting your child's immunity and keeping your child healthy, but not every day. So saffron can be added once a while. Also, if your child is someone who likes something very flavorful, or likes a taste, so wants a prominent taste in something, you can also use cardamom powder to give a taste to the powder that you have already made, the nuts powder that you've made. So, or maybe a hint of cinnamon to the powder can be added while you're actually powdering it. So this will also this comes up as a very, very nice taste. What do you say, this is a very good health drink for your children. You can also consume it, so you don't have to opt for any store bought drinks or products. This is going to be very, very easy for you to make, and at the same time very healthy for your child. Yes, Sharna.
Right, Huda. Thanks for that. Huda, our next question comes in from Ratna Keswani. Ratna asks that in spite of having home food and no junk food, my child is still gaining weight. Kindly suggest what to do. So is there at any point of time the need to restrict a child's diet if to boost their immunity or to help their weight remain optimum?
Right. So, Ratna, thank you so much for this question. One thing that I see here is, maybe the food that your child is eating, even if it is homemade, the portions are not very fine. So what do I mean by that? So if your child is, since you've not mentioned the child's age, if even if your child is like 5 years old, and if your child is eating more than your child should be eating at a particular time, or maybe more than a serving, or maybe more than one particular thing, so that can also affect your child's weight. So if the portions are not in control, if the portions are not controlled, that could also be a problem. Number two, your child is not getting enough rest. So if your child is not getting enough rest, your child has a disturbed sleep, and your child is plays a lot and does not concentrate on sleeping or rest, that could also be a problem. Number three, your child is not enough active. So maybe your child is not playing enough. Maybe your child is playing more of mobile games, or is more engrossed in watching television or iPads and all of these things. That could also affect your child's health. And in fact, all of us, if we are sitting at the same place for more than 45 minutes, if we are not moving around, it aids in weight gain. So these are few things that I can make out from your question. But at the same time, if you feel that your child's weight is increasing rapidly, and you don't see any change even after making even after correcting your child's portions, even after making your child active, even after allowing your child to sleep for 7 to 8 hours, if you don't see any change, I would suggest that you see a pediatrician, visit a pediatrician, get an opinion from your child's pediatrician, and that would really help you in case you feel that your child's weight is increasing rapidly and you're seeing that your child's weight is gaining every month. So these are few things that I see that can be done. Yes, Sharna.
Right, Huda. So, Huda, our next question is from the opposite end of the spectrum. Our question is from Mariam Ahmed, who has a 6-year-old child. And she says, my daughter is 6 years old now and 112 centimeters. She's allergic to dust mites and catches colds quickly. Please tell me how I can increase her weight. She's only 15 kgs as of now.
Okay. So, as I've been repeatedly saying, if you want to boost your child's immunity, protein is very, very important. So, add protein in whichever way you can. You can start your child's morning with the drink that I've told you, the nuts powder that I mentioned some time back. You can start your child's morning with that. At the same time, you can add dates to your child's diet. And with respect to protein, you can add boiled eggs, you can add chicken, you can add even a paya soup or a mutton soup is good enough, because your child is growing, so it shouldn't be a problem. And whether try adding all the dals, beans that we have, pulses, sprouts, everything can be added to your child. So increase the protein intake, increase your child's protein intake, increase the protein that your child is taking. Number two, as I've been saying, all the seasonal fruits and vegetables that we have should be given to your child. And healthy fats are very, very important, because these healthy fats also aid in building immunity. But as you mentioned, that your child has the tendency of catching a cold and cough due to a certain allergy, it becomes very common. So what I would suggest is hygiene also plays a very, very important role. So make sure that her cushion, her pillow covers are changed pretty regularly, and at the same time nothing is dusted in front of her. Make sure the bed sheets and everything is pretty clean, so that there's no dust, or if your house is attracting a lot of dust, that is leading to cold and cough in your child. Make sure that if you're doing certain activities that involve dust coming out or dust straining out, make sure that you keep her away from it. So these are few things that you can do. Also ensure that your child is getting enough rest, because if your child has an allergy problem, it's very important for your child to get enough rest, because even inadequate rest can contribute to these allergies. So that's why rest is again very, very important. And yes, add all the foods from all the food groups to your child's diet. But if it is frequent, again I would say that please see a doctor and get the necessary medications for it. Yes, Jharna.
Right, Huda. Huda, our next question comes in from Sonia Babar, who wants to know that she asks, my son is 4 years old. and he's coughing very badly, are there any home remedies? So anything specifically related to helping with a cough?
Right. So I would say that since it is COVID times, it is always best that if your child has a cold and cough, or it has a lot of cough, has congestion, I would say the first thing should be taking your child to the doctor, because during these times, since there's so much of scare and there's so much of there is so much of misinformation around, I would suggest that if your child has a bad cough, first thing first, take your child to the doctor. The next thing, as I've been saying, is add soups to your child's diet. So it could be a chicken soup, it could be an egg soup, it could be a vegetable soup, it could be a dal soup, it could be a carrot and beetroot soup. So add soups to your child's diet. Try and give warm water to your child throughout the day. It could be maybe say some lukewarm water. It can also have add few drops of lemon to it and give it to your child. And then at the same time, make sure that even if you're giving, you intend to give normal water, boil it first and then cool it down and then give it to your child. Just don't give it like this. At the same time, make sure you're not giving any cold foods to your child. What I mean by cold foods is that nothing that has been got out of the refrigerator, just keep it for some time and then give it to your child. If your child has a tendency of developing more cough with certain foods, remove or eliminate those foods for some time, and avoid giving foods like yogurt, banana in the night, or oranges and guava, if you feel that it is actually going to aggravate your child's cold and cough, though it shouldn't. But as a precautionary measure, I would say that don't give these foods to your child in the night. Do these few things also. As I've mentioned the concoction before, you can make a concoction or you can make a kara out of some ginger. It could be, say, half teaspoon of ginger or 1/4 teaspoon of crushed ginger or chopped ginger or grated ginger, along with that few leaves of basil, tulsi, that we get, that is easily available. Or if you don't have fresh tulsi, you can also opt for dried tulsi, which is easily available online or on any in any of the stores. And maybe a small piece of cinnamon. These things, you can boil it, say 2 cups of water, and that you can add all these ingredients, reduce it to 1 cup, strain it and give it to your child. Add about half a teaspoon of honey to it. This should also benefit your child. But I would say if it is bad cough, the first thing is going, it should be taking to your child to the doctor. Yes, Jharna.
Right, Huda. Our final question comes in from Neha Sabarwal, who has a 4-year-old child, and she says, my girl is 4 years old, and she doesn't want to eat or even taste anything aside from milk and fruits. So,
Okay.
is there any protein powder that could be offered to her? So, should a child be given a protein powder if they're not having protein from normal sources?
Okay. So, as I've mentioned already, that the protein powder can be made at home with the nuts, the different nuts and seeds that I've mentioned. You can make a protein powder at home and you can give it to your child. There is no requirement, in that case, if only if your child is, an aspiring athlete, only if your child needs to, is into sports or something, then maybe you would need a protein powder. You would need an external protein powder to be given. But I don't think as of now it is required. So the powder that I've already told you, the nuts powder, can be given to your child along with milk, since your child is so fond of milk. Also, I would say try introducing different foods to your child's diet in different forms. So if your child is not fond of vegetables, try introducing it in the form of a roti pizza or sandwiches or frankie or a roti roll, or add it to a poha, or add it to idlis, dosas or uttapams, or add it to a paratha. So try adding vegetables in this form. If your child likes milk, make different things out of milk. You can, make curd at home for your child. You can, with that curd, you can make a raita for your child with fruits, because your child likes fruits. You can offer a fruit yogurt parfait to your child. You can give fruit custard to your child. You can make milk pudding for your child along with fruits. So these are few options that you can play around with. But at the same time, I would say try adding different foods to your child's diet. in different forms. So it could be in the form of a soup, it could be in the form of a protein, or anything. I mean, whether it could be some rice, whether it could be some khichdi. So introduce it in different forms so that your child likes eating it. Don't keep it in the same manner. If there's no variety in the diet, I think even all of us would get bored. So make sure there's enough variety in your child's diet, and your child should eat it. Yes, Jharna.
Thanks, Huda. For those of you who have joined us in between, I encourage you to watch the entire video on Parentune to understand how your child's immunity can be boosted with winter foods. Huda, before we conclude, can you tell all the parents watching what are the top three essentials that we as parents should not miss offering our children during these cold winter months?
Right. Number one, protein. No matter what and where we are, but protein is very important, and we have so many sources of protein. Our Indian diet is blessed with foods that have protein. So be it dal, be it pulses, be it sprouts, be it nuts and seeds, be it chicken, eggs, even mutton can be given at times if there's a household that eats it. It could be a soup that we give it. Dairy and dairy products can be given. So protein, the first thing is very important. Protein should be included in your child's diet, and protein is important because your child is also developing and growing. So protein comes first. The next thing is, since it's the winter season, so fruits and vegetables that are rich in vitamin C become essential. So add enough of vitamin C to the diet, whether it's in the form of lemons, grapefruits, or oranges, whatever you get around in your surroundings, guavas, amlas, all these can be, so Indian gooseberry, all these can be added to the diet. And we'll also have strawberries soon. So strawberries are also very good in vitamin C and a lot of other antioxidants. So that can also be added to the diet. Then the last thing that I would like to say is healthy fats. As we've been talking a lot about healthy fats also play an important role in boosting your child's diet. So if you're somebody who eats fishes, eggs, chicken, and if you have avocados available in your area, if not, not a problem. You can have nuts and seeds. So nuts and seeds are easily available everywhere. Their dry fruits are available almost everywhere. So these can be added to your child's diet and even your diet. So I the last thing that I would like to say is, since as parents, we there are certain things that we personally don't like in food, but don't refuse anything in front of your child, because that is what your child is going to learn. So your child is going to learn from your actions and not from the words that you tell them. So make sure that whatever you intend to give your child, you are also adding it to your diet. Only then is it going to benefit your child, because once a child, you can mold your child in any manner when your child is growing. So whatever your child sees, he or she is going to pick it up. So very, very important. Make sure if you're intending to add protein in your child's diet, add it to your own diet also, and relish it in front of your child, so that your child learns from what he's seeing. Yes, Sharna.
Thank you so much, Huda, for all your expert advice today. We will be back on Thursday with another live session on choosing a 6-in-1 vaccine for your newborn baby with Dr. Anuj Rastogi. Thank you once again for joining us today, everyone.
Thank you.